everybody. How we doing today? It's me, Tom, again, coming to you from All Saints Church here in Washington Courthouse. Hope everybody's doing well. So before we even get to the Bible verse today, I've got a big question for you guys. Can anybody out there remind me which Sunday of Lent are we discussing this week? You guys remember? Ask your mom, ask your dad, grandma, grandpa, brother, sister. We are on the fourth Sunday of Lent. That's right. There have been 3 Sundays in Lent. Now, if you guys remember, Lent helps us get ready to celebrate Easter, which I know might be a little surprising to some of you guys, or some people out there, but Easter is the most important holiday on the church calendar. And I know that might surprise some of you guys because a lot of people probably think which holiday is the most important. You're probably thinking Christmas. But surprisingly, Easter is more important than Christmas. Christmas just gets all the publicity, you know? So, now today's Bible story is the Prodigal Son. It's about a dad and 2 brothers, but mostly it is about how much God loves us, even when we mess up. And let's be honest, do we mess up? I mess up. I'm sure you mess up. Father Warren messes up. We all mess up sometimes. It is in the book of Luke, chapter 15, verses 1 through 3 and 11 through 32. Luke is one of the 4 Gospels in the beginning of the New Testament. Now, let's find the book of Luke together. If you have your Spark Story Bible, like I do, I've got a little bookmark in here, we're going to open up to page 378. All right. Now, as I read the story, I want you guys to do me a favor and pay close attention to the way that the brothers treat their father and each other. And listen to how the father treats his son. You guys ready? All right. This is a little bit longer than the last we've done. So the prodigal son. Jesus spent time with all sorts of people, even people who had done bad things. This made some people mad. Why is Jesus always around people who do bad things? They grumbled. Jesus heard them, so he told them this story. A man had 2 sons. The younger son, who was a bit wild and crazy, came to his father and said, "Dad, I want to get away from here. I want my money." This made the father sad, but he split his money and gave his son the part that was his. The younger son packed his bag and headed out away from home. And I think that's the younger son. The son traveled to a faraway country and spent all his money on fancy parties and food. Soon he had no more money and no place to stay. Lucky for him, he found a man who let him sleep in his barn if the son fed the pigs. "What am I thinking?" he said to himself as he fed the pigs. "The men who work for my father have more than enough to eat, and here I am starving to death. I'll go home and say to my father, 'Dad, I made a big mistake. I'm not good enough to be your son, but would you let me work for you?'" So he went home. See, there he is. You see there's 1, 2, 3 pigs, and there's our little caterpillar. While he was still far away from his house, his father saw him. His father ran and threw his arms around him. The father put a ring on his son's finger and shoes on his feet and ordered for a party to be thrown for him. The older son saw his father's servants preparing for the party and asked, "What's going on?" "Your brother is home," said a servant, "and your father is having a party." This made the older brother angry at his father. "I have always done what's right," he said to his father. "I've worked hard for you, but you never gave me a party. Now my brother came home after he wasted your money. Why are you throwing him a party?" "My son, you have always been with me, but your brother left and has now come back." Then the people understood. Jesus spent time with these people because even though they had done bad things, they decided to change their lives and live like God wanted. This made Jesus so happy. So, a couple questions for you guys. How did the younger son treat his father? He didn't treat him very good, did he? No. Maybe with disrespect? How did the father treat his younger son? A little bit differently, didn't he? Yes. A lot of love and grace. How did the older son treat his father? Yeah, he was angry with him, wasn't he? You get angry with your parents sometimes? And how did the father treat his older son? Notice, just like his younger son, he treated him with love. Both sons treated their father pretty poorly. Why do you think he would treat them so well even though they had been so mean to him? It's a good question. I think he did it because he loved them very much. I mean, he was their father. Sometimes my little guys, Owen and Ian, they're not always nice to their dad. Ian's 2, and he likes to bite. He bit me in the shoulder a couple days ago. But do I still love him? Of course I do. And sometimes Owen, especially if the TV's on, he doesn't like to listen. Sometimes I have to get a little angry with him. But do I still love him? Of course I do. Now, if you guys remember from the story, why did the father throw a party for the younger son? I think the overall idea here is because he was lost, but then he was found. And guys, I'm going to tell you, as you get older, there's always going to be moments in our life when we feel like we're lost. Hopefully we all get found. How did he explain it to the older son? Well, he explained it by saying, everything I have is yours. Remember, the younger son did make an apology, didn't he? Yes, he did. What does that tell us about the father's love for his son? Now, as we read this story, which person in this story is like God? Ask around, see what everybody at home thinks. That's right, the father is acting like God here. Who are the sons like? Who do you think they're like? They're like the rest of us. Sometimes we can be lost, and that's okay. And let's be honest, can we mess up? Of course we can. Sometimes we lose stuff, sometimes we break stuff by accident. There's all kinds of ways that we can be lost, or that we can mess up. Oops. Sorry guys, had to go to the next page. Now, the sons were not supposed to get their money until after their father died. That means the younger son was treating his father as if he were dead. The first 2 fun facts show the son to be ultimately disrespectful, and let's be honest, kind of just plain rotten. The part of the story about the pigs would have grossed out the Jewish people from Jesus' time. Jewish people were and are forbidden to eat pork. This part of the story would have been repulsive, and many might have even brought up a gag reflex to listeners. If you don't know what a gag reflex is, that's when you go, hmm. It's when you want to get sick because something's really, really gross. Trust me, I have 2 cats at home. They do things that make me gag sometimes. The father forgave the prodigal son before he finished his apology speech. This parable isn't a how-to for confession. It's about God's immense love and forgiveness. And he loves all of us and forgives all of us. The robe and the ring that the father gave to the son were signs of royalty. God, the father, treats the rotten son, or us, like royalty. Remember, this is about God's extreme, reckless love for us, even when we mess up. The Bible never tells us if the older son went to the party. What do you guys think? Did he go to the party? Father Warren, do you think he went to the party?
I would hope he did.
I would hope so too. I would go to a party for my brother. So.
But I know what people are like, including me.
That's fair.
And it's very possible he didn't. But he still would be invited to the next one.
That's true. So hopefully there's more than one party. Remember. Oh, sorry. Did the older son go into the party? We just don't know. If he didn't, then how is he treating his father by not going? Probably with a little bit more of the disrespect. Now, I know we've talked about this story quite a bit. I bet you almost know it by heart now. Let's see. Oops, we're going to skip that part. We don't have that stuff in front of us. Sorry. All right. Let's close our time together by using the prayer of confession again. Do we have that in front of us? Oh, we don't have that in front of us. I'm sorry, guys. It's important for us to say prayers of confession. Sorry, guys, we had a little mess up there. I was looking for something that wasn't here. It's important for us to say prayers of confession. It's even more important to know that God loves us totally, even before we confess. Alrighty. Well, I hope everybody had a good time this week, and we will see you next week for another Lenten story from the Bible from All Saints Church. Have a good one, everybody.
God bless.